DeAndre Swift, who had a career year rushing the ball for the Eagles, proved that he could withstand the rigors of an NFL season with 229 carries for 1,049 yards, highs in both attempts and yards, significantly so in attempts, although his receiving production went down. We've talked about that as well. 39 catches for 214 yards. The Eagles have sort of played the, in a different way than the quarterback factory. They've played the running back pluck from somebody else's factory game over the years. It would be a little bit surprising if they were to re-sign DeAndre Swift to a significant deal. But if the market is cool for him, I think we agree that there's a spot that could be potentially given to him. He is only going to be 25 years old. How do you feel about DeAndre Swift?
Well, I think DeAndre Swift earned himself money this year. I think he played well. He showed that he can be a lead back. He's shown in the past they can catch the ball out of the backfield. The age is right. What's working against him and what's working for the Eagles is that this is a loaded free agency class for running backs. Running backs in these past few years do not get paid very well on the open market. And typically there might be like one or two who cash in. So you're looking at a class this year that has Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, and Tony Pollard, three of whom were franchise tagged last year, did not get to the market. And Austin Eckler. So four of whom were tagged, right? Barkley, it sounds like he's going to hit the market. Jacobs, we need to see. Derrick Henry, he's going to hit the market. Tony Pollard, we need to see. But this is all a way of saying that if money's being dispensed to running back, Swift might be pretty far down that line, and that could play into the Eagles' favor. I think the free agents comparison for him is David Montgomery last year. David Montgomery got, I believe, a 3-year, $18 million contract from the Lions. And I bring up Montgomery because he was kind of in like this joint backfield, but he was a second-round pick, was still young, and might have been, he's a player that if you like him, you're willing to pay him, as he has 3 years ahead of him that could be better than the 3 years behind him. And that I think Swift could fit that profile. So let me ask you this: for 3 years, $18 million, or whatever the 2024 equivalent of that would be, you're shaking your head. You would not sign him to that.
No, okay. I would only be willing to bring him back on a cheap 1-year deal. I think I'm hesitant to commit anything beyond 1 year to a player who is coming off of career highs in carries and hadn't proven it before then otherwise. I think he is not a offense changing type of running back. I think he's a very good running back, but I don't think that he changes the relative ceiling of the offense enough to commit to anything beyond 1 year. But if the market is extremely tepid for him and it's the second week of free agency, then yeah, I would be interested in bringing him back for a little bit, but definitely not the David Montgomery deal.
My other question for you: do you think the Miles Sanders situation last year is going to hurt DeAndre Swift? And what I mean by that is Sanders got good money from Carolina. He got the biggest running back contract from anyone who hit the open market, and he was a bust with the Panthers. And one of the schools of thought was that his time in this Eagles offense and with this offensive line kind of bolstered his stock. So essentially, he was a beneficiary more than he was the one kind of creating those yards. Now Swift has been elsewhere, so you've seen him outside of this Eagles offense before. But do you think the Miles Sanders contract is going to hurt DeAndre Swift?
I don't think it should hurt him too much. I mean, Sanders had more tread taken away on his used up on his tires relative to Swift. He had more carries in his year than Swift did, and he had more carries in the years before that than Swift did. I also think the offense was much more running back friendly in 2022 than it was in 2023. We talked about it. We had disagreements about how good Miles Sanders was being given the situation he was afforded. It was not like that for DeAndre Swift this year. I think he overperformed the situation he was in. And so I don't think that it should factor into what the market says about DeAndre Swift, but I don't know that it will.
And now let me ask you this. I'd like this game here. I'm going to name a running back and tell me if you'd rather have that running back or Swift. And let's do this independent of contract. So just the player and the age. Okay.
And for 1 year?
For 1 year. Yep. Derrick Henry, 30 years old.
Derrick Henry.
Josh Jacobs, 26-year-old.
Josh Jacobs.
Tony Pollard, 26 years old.
Tony Pollard.
Saquon Barkley, 27 years old.
Saquon Barkley.
Austin Eckler, 28 years old.
Probably Austin Eckler, but I don't feel great about that one.
Gus Edwards, 28 years old.
DeAndre Swift.
Devin Singletary, 26 years old.
DeAndre Swift.
Let's go with J.K. Dobbins, 25 years old, coming off injury.
DeAndre Swift.
A.J. Dillon, 25 years old.
DeAndre Swift.
And then Antonio Gibson, 25 years old.
DeAndre Swift.
Zach Moss, 26 years old.
DeAndre Swift.
Okay, so that kind of gives you a sense of where.
Do you disagree with any of those?
No, I agree with probably all of those. I would take him over Eckler. I didn't think Eckler was particularly good this past year, and I think Swift's younger, and I would probably prefer Swift there. I would take Barkley, Pollard, Jacobs, and Henry over him 1 year, cost independent. J.K. Dobbins is someone I always really liked, but coming off of that major injury, yeah, that's a tough situation for him. But and then Devin Singletary, I think, really improved his stock this year with Houston. Played in Houston on a 1 year deal, and was there. He unseated Dameon Pierce as their top back. So, yeah, you're probably looking at like the 5th or 6th best running back in free agency.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is one where, like, if you're DeAndre Swift, you take the best offer you can get on the first day of free agency. You do not want the market to wait you out here. All right, 2 left, both wide receivers.
Wait, we have to give our numbers.
Oh, yes, our numbers for DeAndre Swift. Let's get to our numbers. The reveal. Julia's been patiently waiting. 14 for me, 12 for you.
Okay,
so you will be rooting for the Philly return, as it should be. I think those are about right.
We all silly like the mayor.